Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Parthaya pratibodhitam bhagavata Narayanena swayam Vyasena kratitam purana munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashaadhyayinim Ambatvam anusandadhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavatveshinim Namostu te Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullaravindayata Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purna Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraikapanaye Jnana Mudraya Krishnaya Gitamrita Duhe Namaha Sarvopanishado Gavo Dukta Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsasudhir Bhukta Dugdham Gitamritam Mahat Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Bhishmadrona Tata Jayadratha Jala Gandhara Nilotpala Shalyagrahavati Krupena Vahani Karnena Velakula Ashwathama Vikarna Ghora Makara Duryodhana Vartini Sottirna Kalupandavairana Nadi Kaivartaka Keshavaha Parashariya Vachastaroja Mamalam Gitartha Gandhodkatam Nanakyanaka Kesaram Marikata Sambodhana Bodhitam Loke Sajjana Shatpadairaharaha Petiyamanam Muda Bhuyad Bharata Pankajam Kalimala Pradhvamsina Shreyase Mukam Karoti Vachalam Panghum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutah Stunvanti Divyaistavai Vedaistanga Padakramopanishadair Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam Navidusura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. We are studying the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the differentiation of the knower and the known. The universe is that which is known, that which is palpable by us, that which is experienced by us, and then there is behind this universe, this variety, there is one uniting factor which is the divine. This is the theme of this chapter. How to know that which is behind everything is the divine? How to know it? So that is the question that Arjuna has in mind, to which Sri Krishna is giving the answer. So he says here that Dhyanena Atmani, you can try to find it out by any means. Swami Vivekananda's famous saying, each soul is potentially divine. There is potentiality in everyone to experience this divine. And the goal of life is to manifest this divinity. Goal of life is not enjoyment. Goal of life is not getting some temporary pleasure or happiness. Goal of life is to realize this divinity within, to rouse this divinity into its full consciousness or into its full level. That is the goal of life. In fact, every being, from the amoeba to the highest developed personality, has within oneself or himself or herself or itself this great urge to manifest this divinity fully. Only thing is, we do not know that is what. It manifests as freedom, desire to be free, but we do not know that is divinity that is making us try to come out of our shell, as it were, and to become free. So that is the idea. Goal is to manifest this divinity within, and Swami Vivekananda says, do it either by work, karma yoga, by worship, by psychic control, pranayama, etc., and then completely merge yourself in the absolute. Psychic control, by one or more or all of these, and be free. This is the goal of religion. Doctrines or dogmas or temples or churches are secondary details. See, in life we take the secondary details as the primary ones, and that is the problem that we face. Therefore, we need to take that as secondary. They are just mere props. After using the props, one has to discard it, one has to throw it away and catch hold of the real ones. So here he says that one can achieve to that state by following any path. In the 24th verse, Sri Krishna talks about 3 disciplines, and in the 25th verse he talks about the 4th discipline. So what are those 4 disciplines? So let us study it. Dhyanen atmani pashyanti kechit atmanam atmana anye sankhena yogena karma yogena chapare. There are some who perceive the Atman within themselves by the practice of meditation with a purified mind. There are others who approach him through the discipline of knowledge or through the discipline of work. So these are the 3 paths. The path of meditation, yoga, dhyana yoga or mere yoga, Patanjali's yoga. So that is what it is called as dhyanena atmani pashyanti. Atmani pashyanti means this in the Atman one realizes this Atman within oneself. Dhyanena atmani. So how does he do it? He sees God in the innermost depths of one's own being by diving deep into it. As you dive deeper and deeper, the mind becomes clearer and clearer. It is called as the Chitta Shuddhi. So you keep on cleansing yourself totally. And once you clear or cleanse yourself, then you will see that the goal is nearer and that you will go and merge with it. So by the purity of mind, the reflection of the divine is seen within oneself. Generally, what we do is we bring the experiences from the external world through our 5 senses and we dump them into the lake of the mind. We are dumping them all. Good ones, bad ones, everything we are dumping over there. But it is required now and then to do a cleanup of our mind. And that is done through dhyana. So many of us ask this question, why is it that our mind becomes so filled with thoughts when we sit for meditation only? At other times we don't have such thoughts. Only when we are sitting very quietly for meditating that we feel all of that, because there is so much of muck over there and you are looking into your mind and what you are seeing is all those things that you have accumulated over there. Now one has to make a lot of effort. One has to clear them by the path, by the path of discrimination, etc., and dive deep into it and throw away those things. In fact, we need to sieve away, or we need to remove all those junk that we keep. But unfortunately, what we do is, when we sit quietly for some time, we put in, or we throw in more of resentments within ourselves. Somebody has said something, and that comes to me during meditation. And so I keep on devising ways or means to retaliate to that. It is a common thing. Everyone goes through this. So therefore, Sri Krishna over here says, Dhyanena. Dhyana means Dhyeya Vastu, that is the object of concentration. One must dive deep into the object of concentration itself. Sri Ramakrishna used to sing a song. Doop, 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 roop shagore amar mon, tolatol khunjle, pabi reshei dratnodhan. O my mind, dive deep and deep into the ocean of the depths of consciousness. The depths of the ocean of consciousness. Tolatol khunjle pabi reshei dratnodhan. When you go dive deeper, if you only float on the surface, what happens? You will get only junk that we have thrown out there. But if we go deeper and deeper into our mind, then you will see great gems. That is to say, all the good habits that we have cultivated, or all the good thoughts that we have put in ourselves, within ourselves, all of that will be found down beneath, not on the surface. On the surface we will only see all the junk, the plastics and other things which we throw into the water. They are floating on the surface. That's why we need to ignore them. We need to just push them aside and dive deep within ourselves. There we will see the greatest gem of our life is down below. The divine is there. So we need to try and find out. So that is what it is. The other example that is given is that if you want to find something very precious within a warehouse, you need to shut the doors so that nobody comes and disturbs you while you are seeking that, and you shut the doors of the mind, and then within the warehouse you will find the precious item that you are looking for. Do not allow anything else to enter. Swami Turiyananda, one of Sri Ramakrishna's disciples, a little older than Swami Vivekananda, he used to say that when I sit for meditation, I put a board in front of my mind. No entry. In India we have that one thing. No admission without permission. So no entry over there. We have to do that. I mean, these are tips for us to learn how to go deeper within ourselves. We need to tell our mind, look, this is the time for my meditation. This is the time to seek my real moorings, and I am not going to be disturbed by it. Do not disturb me, that's all. You just put this board outside and do not allow any thoughts to enter, and we will be successful if we do it. Only we should have that willpower to make sure that we do not think or bring in any external objects while meditating. Only the thought of the divine, or only the thought of the light that is within, whichever is convenient to us, we need to focus on that. And dhyana or meditation becomes easy for when we practice this kind of meditation. So dhyanena atmani pashyanti kechit atmanam atmana. Within themselves, atmanam atmana, that is in the atman, within, this Atman is used in two senses. One is this divine self within, that is the Atman, and the other Atman means by oneself. So that is the divine and the external being which we call as mind, which is material. So the mind will go and merge with the Atman. That is the ideal of meditation. Kechid Atmanam Atmana. Then Anye Sankhena Yogena. Others through the path of Sankhya. Sankhya is not the Sankhya philosophy that Sri Krishna is talking about, but it is the Jnana Marga, or the path of knowledge, was termed as the Sankhya Yoga in Sri Krishna's time. So through the path of Jnana, Vichara Patha or Vichara Pantha, the path of Vichara, inquiry. Who am I? Who am I? What is behind this world that I experience outside? What is there behind everything? As you go deeper and deeper into one's own self by this path of inquiry, then what we will see is the same consciousness or the same self that is everywhere is within me here. What is out there is here as well. That is the path of vichara or of jnana. In fact, we see the world through the prism of our minds. What is a prism? Prism has got three objects over there, or three corners. Prism. So in this prism we find space, we find time, and we find causation. These three conditions, our knowledge is based on these three conditions: space, time, and causation. These conditions must be met in order for anything to be experienced by us. So time, what is time? Time is the condition for transmitting a thought. From a time is this second to the next second. There is a space which we have to give. So that is called as the time. So it is condition for transmitting a thought. That is what philosophy says. Time is nothing but a condition for transmitting a thought. And what is space? Space, it says, it is the condition for vibration of gross matter. Space is vibration of gross matter. This book is here, and this book is, I keep that book over here, and from there I bring it over here. So it has taken time, and it has also changed the space, right? This is what is called as the space, that is vibration. It has vibrated over there, or it has moved from there and has been replaced to another space, from one space to the other space. And then what is causation? Causation is the sequence in which the vibrations happen. There is a sequence between what is in this space and then the space that it is replacing. So there is a sequence. So time is there, space is there, and also there is this causation. Why did it replace from there to here? There is a reason for that. It was stationary over there, now it has to move, and therefore there is a causation for that, there is a sequence for that. But when we want to think of the divine, we should go beyond all these three things. Realization is possible only when we go beyond this space, time, and causation. What is beyond the mind. That which is beyond the mind is the divine or the Atman, beyond the mind. But the mind works only in these three. When one goes into samadhi, for example, when one dives deep into samadhi, what happens? All this space, time and causation, they disappear. You read the life of Sri Ramakrishna, you will, especially the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, if you read it, you will see Sri Ramakrishna goes into samadhi. Very often he would go into this deep state of existence called samadhi, and there he would lose all of these things, three things. He would lose the presence of time, he would lose the presence of space, and he would also lose the presence of the causation. Everything is lost over there, and he is completely merged in that. His breathing completely stops, his pulse rate would completely come to a standstill, and his heartbeat also would completely stop. These are experiments done in Sri Ramakrishna's life. Doctors used to come and test him and would find that indeed there is no pulse rate, there is no heartbeat, and there is no breath at all completely. For all practical purposes, clinical purposes, Sri Ramakrishna was dead. But he comes back after some time. So that means at that point of time, his mind has soared beyond this space, time and causation. It has merged into the infinite. And then he comes back and then he talks about the experiences that he had. Even though he says he cannot describe fully what he has experienced because it is beyond explanation time. The words cannot express it. So here he says that the space, time and causation, the mind must go beyond this space, time and causation. So when we remove this space, time and causation, there is the reality. So to recognize this reality, one must follow this path, neti, 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 not this, not this, not this. I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the 24 cosmic principles that are mentioned in the Sankhya Yoga, etc. That is the path of not this, not this, not this. Elimination, path of elimination. That is called as Sankhya Yoga, the path of Sankhya. And then he says, Karma Yogi Nacha Apare. Karma Yoga. Then he talks about the path of Karma Yoga. That means to the discipline of work, one can also reach to that highest state. One can also realize the divine or God. So by doing actions without the sense of ownership or doership is the key in Karma Yoga. I am performing all the actions, I am speaking, I am reading, and I am trying to explain what is here, but all of this I do not do it with the, I should not do it with the sense of egoism that I am doing it, I am teaching. No. As soon as that I am doing or I am the owner of what I am doing, I own something, then Karma Yoga is no more applicable. Once I dedicate everything to the divine, he is the one, Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yatkrupatamaham vande paramananda madhavam. So it says Mukam karoti vachalam. The divine makes the dumb speak. Pangum langhayate girim. Makes the person without limbs, without legs and all that, scale the topmost mountains. And we have recent examples of people without legs. Somehow they have climbed even Mount Everest. It was on Arunima Sinha. She scaled the Mount Everest when her legs were amputated. But even with that, she climbed Mount Everest. All this happens because of the divine will. There is the divine will which works through a personality, the person, then one can do whatever the divine wants to be done. Yat kripa tamaham vande, by the grace of the divine. So, karma yogena cha apare, one can, through following the path of or the discipline of karma yoga, one can also reach to the highest stage. Swami Vivekananda very clearly mentions that by practicing any one of these, by one or more or all of these, you shall be free. One can become free. It is not necessarily that one should have all of them. But Sri Ramanujacharya, who has commented upon this verse, he says, sadhana traya cha samuchayaha natu vikalpaha. He says, no, it is not that Sri Krishna is saying that you should follow each of them separately and you will achieve. No. By a combination of all of these, sadhana traya chaturta, all these 4 yogas should be followed in one's life together, or in whatever you do, you should bring in all the 4. Of course, it is essential for us also to remember that whenever we undertake anything, we have what we call as emotionality, and we have what is called as impulse or emotionality, and then we have the intellectual capacity to do such a thing. We will use our intellect to do some work in a proper manner, and then there should be also an indomitable willpower. At least all these 3 things are necessary for us, and all these 3 are the 3 yogas that are mentioned over here. So we cannot isolate them. And so of course Swami Vivekananda also says elsewhere in the Bhakti Yoga that for a bird to fly, it should have the 3 things. It should have its 2 wings, and it should have a tail which will act as a rudder. Without these 3 things, a bird cannot fly easily. Similarly, all these 3 things are essential. But Sri Krishna is very clear, seems to be very clear here, that you can follow any one of these. That is to say, you may have a predominance of either jnana, you can have a predominance of yoga, or you can have a predominance of karma, the path of karma in one's life. But the rest, all of the other things are also essential. That is Ramanujacharya's view, and we really accept that view as well. Anye tvevam ajanantaha shrutvanyebhya upasate tepi chatitarantyeva mrityum shruti parayanaha. There are still others who, being unfit to follow the disciplines described before, I will add that word exclusively before, for they lack the knowledge of the Yoga Shastras and the Vedas, they adopt forms of worship, that is devotional disciplines, under instructions from teachers or elders. Full of faith in these instructions heard and following them sincerely as their only refuge, they too certainly overcome the cycle of births and deaths. So he is talking about the Bhakti Yoga. So in Bhakti Yoga, one depends upon the grace of the Guru and of the Ishta, one's chosen ideal. Some may not have any independent thinking at all, who cannot concentrate properly, or who cannot work without giving up the results of one's actions. It is possible. But what they have is Shraddha. They have indomitable faith in the words of the Guru, in the grace of the divine. That itself is sufficient, of course. Sri Ramakrishna had one of his disciples. His name was Girish Chandra Ghosh. Girish Chandra Ghosh was a dramatist. now considered as the father of modern drama in the Bengali theatre. So he was a bohemian. He was given to drinking and all sorts of vices. But he had one thing. He had indomitable faith in his own capabilities, and he had indomitable faith in the divine. That's how when he came to Sri Ramakrishna, even when Sri Ramakrishna tried to instruct him in the spiritual disciplines, he would say he didn't have any time, probably no inclination also to do that. He was a great intellectual, there is no doubt about that, but he was not inclined to use that intellect towards spiritual practices, or he was not inclined to sit and meditate for a little while, or even to pray. But he had infinite faith that his guru will be able to carry him across the ocean of samsara, this worldly existence. He had that infinite shraddha, that infinite faith in him, in the guru, and that itself carried him forward, and he became a saintly personality. So it is possible that one does not have all the other qualities, but if one has this faith, Shrutva Anyebhya Upasate, one has heard about the divine, one has Shrutva Anyebhya Upasate. So in the Dhammapada we just had the Buddha's birthday on last Thursday, and when we chanted one verse, Jara Vyadhi Kilbishanam, one who is full of Jara and Vyadhi, that means of the misery of sickness and death, etc. So for such a person, Bhishakvaraha, the Buddha comes to them as the Bhishak. Bhishak means as the doctor. So he is there to come and treat us. See, for example, if I am sick, very sick, I may not have any knowledge about why the sickness came, or what are the consequences of such sickness, etc. I may not have any knowledge about that. But if I have implicit faith in the wisdom of my doctor, and just follow whatever the doctor has told me, practice, take proper diet, use proper diet, and also take the medicines at the proper timing, exercise, etc., then I will get better naturally. I did not know the science of medicine at all. I did not know the science of the physical body at all. If I know, then it is definitely useful, no doubt, but it is not necessary for me to know all of that. See, that's why the Buddha says very clearly in one of his sermons. He says that suppose a person has shot an arrow towards a person, and you have watched that the arrow has come and hit that person. So at that time, would you start asking the question, oh, where did this arrow come from? Whether this arrow has a poison tip or not, whether this will kill this person or not? Do you ask these questions, or would you just go and remove the arrow and then treat the person from the arrow wound? What will you do? You are not going to ask all of those questions. So that is, sometimes it is not useful at all. Rather, that direct help is very useful. That's what the Guru does to us. He directly helps us. So in our life we do make a lot of errors. There is nobody who does not make errors. We all make errors. But if we have faith in the saving grace of the divine, that God will definitely save me. Then we will change our course and we will reach the destination. So Swami Vivekananda very famously says, man does not travel from error to truth, but from truth that is lower to truth that is higher. Extraordinary words of Swami Vivekananda. We do not travel from error to truth. That I have committed error and let me now go towards the truth. Everything is ultimately truth. That I realize that this is wrong. That is a truth as well. That is a truth. That is not an error. So we make errors, but errors are sometimes they are the truths that come in a lower form, that which we need to discard. When we travel from point A to point B, there are signs, road signs. Springfield is so many kilometers away. What do? We just don't hang on and say, I have to go so far. When will I reach? What will I do? Etc. No, don't have all that. You have started the journey, you have undertaken the journey, and you have come out of your safety zone, so to say, and you have started traveling. So that first point which you left is also important as the destination is. So that is why the means is as important as the goal. But sometimes we find that people think that the goal alone is important and that we can use whatever means. No, that is not correct, that is wrong. So we start from somewhere and take it as the beginning point and then go forward. Man travels from the truth that is lower to truth that is higher. So therefore, if we criticize somebody saying that that person is bad, that person is wicked and so on and so forth, we will not go anywhere. We will have to give that up. He has done such a mistake or she has done a mistake, and it is because of his samskaras or his upbringing that he has done such mistakes. I am not going to decry that person, I am not going to criticize that person. So we give that up, but think of the divine that is in that person. That is what I believe Sri Krishna is pointing out over here. Tepi chatitaranteva mrityum shruti parayanaha. So we should travel from lower truth to truth that is higher. No error, no mistake is absolutely useless. I say this with great emphasis. No error, no mistake is absolutely useless. You learn from mistakes, don't we? We all learn from mistakes. If we did not falter while we were babies, we would not be able to stand up. We do falter. We do fall down, get hurt a little bit, but that getting hurt is that which makes us stand straight, which makes us walk straight, isn't it? So that is what he says here through these verses. So some just take the name of the Lord and they are free from the bonds of birth and death. Cycle of birth and death. Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam sthavara jangamam kshetra kshetrajna sanyoga tat viddhi bharatarshava. So he concludes this topic. O thou the best of the Bharata clan, whatever there is born, whether moving or unmoving, it has come into being due to the union of Kshetra, that is the body, and Kshetrajna, that is the spirit. Whatever is born in this world, kinchit sattvam, that is anything that is an object. with anything that has an existence, that which is, it may be stationary, it is moving, or stationary or unmoving, or it can be moving or mobile, whatever it is. All are the products of this Kshetra and Kshetrajna, union of Prakriti and Purusha. Everything is the union of this Prakriti and Purusha. The knower is everywhere. The divine is everywhere, in everything, but only we do not have the understanding that the divine is everywhere. That is the only thing. We carry this body, for example. How many of us know or aware about what we are carrying in this body? How many of us are aware of what we are carrying? See? So, the Kshetra and Kshetrajna is that what the Kshetrajna does, the knower does, is the divine. That is, the Kshetrajna is the divine over here. Is he takes the objects from here, there, everywhere, and then puts it together and makes an object. So that's why it chooses everything and then he puts it together. And we, like a builder, getting so many materials from different places, from different vendors, he gets the different materials and starts building. But the architect or the builder, he knows that this is what goes into this to make it a livable, a comfortable place. So in the same way, this body is something which has been received by nature. It has been put everything together by the divine, and we are enjoying staying within this body. The Atman is enjoying its stay within this body. Therefore, this consciousness is all pervasive. Thou the best. Whatever there is born, whether moving or unmoving, it has come into being due to the union of Kshetra and Kshetrajna. That's why one should not look down upon anything, be it a good person or a evil person, whatever it is. One do not look down upon anybody. Recognize that true spirit that is behind it. Yes, some have got some bad habits, or some have some bad karmas, we can call it as karmas. So we just have to ignore them and not get bound by them, not get attached to them. That is the idea. Kshetra and Kshetrajna. I was told a story by some Swami. He said, a fish once thought, and it announced that life is impossible without water. So it went about talking about life. It said, I have come to this great realization that water alone can give us life, and that life cannot exist without water. Then a frog came from the land, and then it listened to this lecture of the fish and said, well, my dear, it is not true that life is possible only within the water. Life is also possible outside of water. So all the other fish, all aquatic animals, they said, you are a liar and you are a cheat. You have come here to talk ill about our water. You get out of this place. You do not have any sense at all. You do not have any understanding at all. We do not want such a person in our company. So, of course, the frog went away thinking, what can I talk to fools like this? They think that they sit within the water and water alone is true. No, that is not. The land is also there. One can live on land. In fact, more animals live on land than in water. So that's how it is. We cannot decry somebody and say that what what they themselves think alone is right and the others are wrong. So this understanding of Kshetra and Kshetrajna, it gives us this knowledge that indeed there is variety in this universe, and that is due to the play of Prakriti, and that one should focus more on the Kshetra, that means the knower of the self, or if we can put it in plain words, on the divine. The more and more you think of the divine, everything else will be revealed to you, everything else will take care of yourself. That is where we will stop today, and we will continue the next verse, Samam Sarveshu Bhuteshu, 27th verse, next Sunday. Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gaganasadrisham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Lakshmikantam Kamalanayanam Yogirathyanagamyam Vande Vishnum Bhavabhayaharam Sarvalokaikanaatham. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.